Good morning, Grunts. Uh, well, I got to tell you, it's been busy times here, very busy times. I've been working my full-time job and still trying to produce videos here. Spring is definitely sprung here in Nebraska. As I look out my back window, trees are starting to leaf out, lawn's getting nice and green. I think it's completely green. The neighbors had their bird feeders out feeding finches and what have you. And yours truly did get out on the lake for the first time this season yesterday, mid-April. This has been the earliest I got to go out on the lake and do a little fishing. I did catch a couple short walleye yesterday, threw them back here in the state of Nebraska, as you all are should be aware if you're a fisherman. 15 inches. I mean, they're a slot fish, but 15 inches is the shortest you can keep, up to four, or I believe it's 1/21 inches, but I'm not going to go into fishing regs. That's not what the topic of this video is. But just want to share with everybody that I'm definitely entering into the spring and summertime here in my little world. GF and I go on our cruise here in 11 days with Carnival Cruise Lines, heading to Nassau, Bahamas, and Princess Key for 4 days. We're looking forward to that. A little getting into some more, a little more extreme sun and fun. But with that being said, let's dive into today's topic, and that's going to be the dead bedroom phenomenon. And I've got an article here I want to read before we get into it. It's interesting. And before I do, I had my youngest son here a while back, and he was telling me so and so has decided to get divorced. And I said, well, let me guess. Due to dead bedroom, lack of sex, he says, yeah, pretty much. And I know who he's talking about. These are former neighbors of mine when I used to live out in the Murdo home outside of town here. This guy would say, I'm lucky if I get sex on my birthday or Christmas. And I'm like, Jesus, dude. Of course, back then I was married and I sympathize with him because I was going through the same thing. My bedroom was pretty much dead. I was lucky if I had sex once every couple weeks, once a month, if that. So we was heading towards a dead bedroom. And so I found this article kind of interesting because it's one of those "Am I the asshole" articles, which I get a kick out of. People write in and they talk about different topics or they air their grievances out over or different subject matters. But here's one here. It says, "Am I the asshole for going off on my wife because she teases me even though our bedroom is dead?" I can always tell by that headline right there that that's fucked up situation. But here, let's get into it. Let me read this. I, 32 male, am married to my wife, 32 female, for 6 years and together for 9 years. Our sex life gradually diminished into nothing after the third year of our marriage. Well, no surprise there, and we'll get into that. We do not have children as of now. I handle my part of chores in the household, if not even more, due to me working from home and being available most of the time. I do show her non-sexual attention and gestures such as massaging, kisses, being emotionally available, and other things. I explain these because people tend to find fault from my side first after I tell them about the situation. I try to have many talks with my wife about it, but it all boils down to we are not married just for sex. Stop thinking with your thing down there, and so on. However, she does not stop herself from teasing me. She'll talk about sex, but just reject me afterwards and go to sleep. She'll be flirty, but nothing in the end. Ask her if it's a kink and if it's I'm not comfortable with such a thing, especially as our sexual life is in shambles. She says not a kink, and she genuinely does not feel in the mood. I told her stop teasing me then. Yeah, and that makes sense. If you're not gonna obligate to the deed, then don't even tease about it. And he goes on to say, yesterday was our anniversary and we had a great date together. She implied sex and teased me a lot during our time. I was hopeful that we'll do something in the end. Guess what? Once we stepped inside the house, she just showered and went to bed. Cool, I think I should approach. Or I should just, or yeah, I should approach. I tried and got rejected in the end. I lost it at that moment and just shouted my frustration at her. I told her I'm going to divorce her. I packed my clothes and some important belongings and left for a hotel. She tried to stop me, but could not. She has been calling me nonstop, but I just need peace of mind right now. It's just frustrating being together with someone but feeling alone and unwanted sucks. On top of that, she gives me hope only to destroy it. I called my lawyer. I called my lawyer friend this morning, and we'll start the divorce proceedings this Monday. I am just done at this point. And then he questions, "Am I the asshole?" No, you are not the asshole. Um, Here's the reality, and I'll speak from my experience too. Like I said, I mentioned earlier there that I was heading towards a dead bedroom. It wasn't quite there, but it was getting there. I can remember back in my early days of marriage that the sex was there. It was we had quantity, we had quality, we were young, we were truly in love. She had genuine burning desire for me, and it seemed like after we had both our sons, our youngest son was born in 2007. It seemed like after that, the sex went, and yeah, it's like something I've gone through. It's hell, but at the same time, women are their own human. They're their own person, their own feelings, their own emotions, and all that. And you have to take that into consideration too. Anytime you want to have sex, just because you're married to her doesn't mean that you have access to her body all the time. And that's definitely true. You do not have access just because, and that's where a lot of men get it wrong, is they think that because they are married to a woman that she should be giving it to him at any time. And that's not true, guys. And you should never expect that at any time either. If a woman has genuine burning desire for you, she's going to give you sex, whether you want it or not. And the one thing I've learned through the 19 and a half years I was married, that it does suck. Um, I always seemed to be initiating sex. And when I would initiate, and if she reciprocated, it was, the Carl's Jr. starfish sex. She lays out there and sex is nothing but a chore. And that's not fun either. After doing that for a little while, you're like, she's just reciprocating just to, just let me get off. And that's not right either. It's got to be pleasurable. It's got to be enjoyable for the both of you. The one thing I'll say about the teasing, that is pure and utter bullshit there on her part. If she's not going to deliver on what she's teasing, that's, and women wonder why men react violently to stuff like that when they get teased and they get teased, sexually teased, and then they're worked up, they're ready to go, and then that woman shuts them down. A guy can only put up with that for so long before he loses his shit. Like this guy here lost his shit. He didn't cause her any physical harm, but he just got to a point where he's like, okay, I'm tired of the bullshit. You're not gonna put out, even though you tease me, you're not putting out, and it's not right. And I agree with him for starting divorce proceedings, because guys, look at it this way. Sex is it's important in a relationship and marriage. It's not the main thing, but it's important. Sex and intimacy is very important in any kind of relationship or marriage. And so I look at it this way: if a woman withholds sex from you, would be the equivalent if a husband quits his job and stops being a provider and doesn't care if the bills are getting paid. Doesn't give a shit. And also she's complaining about, you gotta get a new job. The mortgage is due next week, and you don't have a job. We don't have any money. And she's constantly bitching at you, constantly fucking nagging at you. That would be the equivalent. And then what'll eventually happen is if you don't get another job, she bounces. She's out. Okay. So what do these girls think when they pull shit like this, and then the man says, "Okay, I'm fucking done. I'm just gonna file for divorce." I mean, don't you think it's fair? If you was a married guy and you quit your job, and you know damn well within a week or two, your wife is gonna be nagging you. Well, when are you gonna get another job? You're just sitting on your ass on the couch playing video games, blah 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 blah. And and then when you don't become a provider, or when you don't provide again, then like I said, she bounces. She files for divorce, and then she takes your home, over half your shit, and then you're left out on the street, jobless and broke. So all guys are doing is they're kind of doing the same thing with women now, as when they don't reciprocate sexually, guys will either go outside the marriage and cheat on their wives. And I can't blame them because if you're not putting out, and like I said, there's many reasons why a woman won't put out, but this particular case here is because she's being a bitch, a teasing bitch. And like I said, there's medical reasons why your bedroom might be dead. There's emotional reasons, but this particular case here, and the same thing with my deal. My wife just didn't want to put out anymore. She had no health issues, no emotional issues, no nothing. It's just that she didn't want to have sex no more. And that's part of the, and I want you guys to remember this phrase, and that phrase is, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Okay. And what that means is when you enter into a dead bedroom or a sexless marriage per se, as a man, it all it is, it's a roommate situation where where you still have legal responsibility for that woman. Okay. It's not like if I move somebody here in my place to have that second bedroom upstairs and they're paying me, I don't know, $500 a month in rent, that's fine. There's no, there's an arrangement there, but there's no intimacy or no nothing. It's just a roommate moving in, paying rent for my other bedroom up there, and that's it. But when you are married and you have a legal binding agreement with the state, and she's refusing to have sex with you, and really all it becomes is a roommate situation where the man has all the responsibility to provide for that woman, even though she's not fulfilling her end of the bargain by being submissive, being sexual with that man. All it is just a roommate situation where you are paying all the bills. And that's all it is, guys. And it's complete and utter bullshit. I went through it as a married guy. I've talked to other guys that are married that are going through it right now. My neighbor is going through it right now. Well, my previous neighbor, I guess, is going through it. What's funny about that situation when my son told me, "Oh yeah, so and so is getting divorced," and I said, "Why? Because of a dead bedroom, no sex?" He's like, "Yeah, pretty much." And then I guess he ended up in the hospital with some kind of gastrointestinal type deal. And so now because he was going to file the divorce. And now he decided, well, no, maybe I don't want to get divorced now because now I might need my wife to tend to me medically, which is kind of how I understand that. But anyways, guys, don't put up with the dead bedroom deal. And like I said, you could go to marriage counseling, but all that's doing, and another reason for the dead bedroom phenomena is you've lost her genuine burning desire for you. So once you lose that, even if you go to couples therapy or marriage counseling, all that's going to happen there is the therapist and you are going to try to renegotiate that genuine burning desire. So sex, if sex happens after that, it's transactional based on, well, if you do this or if we try these different couple enhancing exercises and we'll have sex. And so I did a video on the difference between validational and transactional sex. You can go back and look at that, watch that video. I talk extensively about those topics. So, but if you go through a marriage counselor or a sex therapist, all you're attempting to do is renegotiate genuine burn desire, meaning you're trying to make her fall back in love with you, make her desire you like she did when you first met her. Okay. Now, I don't know the demographics of this guy. If this guy's gotten obese, he's a fucking slob. I don't know. It doesn't say there's nothing, but he's essentially airing his complaints about without discussing, other than he's a 31-year-old male. He might have became unfuckable to her. I don't know. I don't know. So, but either way, it's not right to be teasing this man and then withholding the sex. That's just completely wrong in my book. It's like I said, yeah, it is grounds for divorce. So, guys, think about that. If your marriage is heading that way, it's essentially over. Once the bedroom is dead, the marriage is essentially over. I'm not going to tell you, you should file for divorce. There are guys out there that will continue on that marriage. I know older couples that have, I'm pretty sure my ex-in-laws are that way. They probably have not had sex in years, but they just plod along in their marriage because that's what you're supposed to do. And but I think younger people are realizing that, hey, if you're not gonna submit to me from time to time, not like it's a definite requirement, but if I'm going to sacrifice my happiness to have a wife and kids, then she should make a sacrifice on her end to be submissive, be beautiful, be feminine, be friendly. She needs to be making those sacrifices as well. It like I said, marriage it's literally it's a team. It's he brings in these qualities, she brings in these qualities, and that's what happens there. And if someone is lacking or falls back, or whatever, then something needs to be done there. But yeah, if once the sex is gone, the marriage is gone. A lot of things can be recouped, but when the sex is no longer no longer there, then the marriage is essentially over. And anything you do to restore the sex, you're trying to renegotiate the genuine desire. And sex then becomes a transaction. Like if we do these different marriage enhancing exercises, then we'll have sex. Or if we when you got to carve out a time for sex, that's transactional. The sex doesn't happen naturally. Like if you worked a 10-hour day at work and you come home and your wife wants to jump your bones right and you walk in the door, yeah, that is a natural occurrence of sex. But when you guys say, well, let's meet in the bedroom at 7 o'clock because that's the time we got after, we get the kiss to bed or whatever the situation is. But yeah, guys, the dead bedroom, I've lived with it for the last probably 8, 9 years of my marriage. I probably close to 10, where sex was once every other week, probably twice a month if I was lucky. And I always had to initiate it. And then when I would try to initiate, it was, oh, I want to watch the rest of this Grey's Anatomy, or I want to read the rest of this chapter in my book, or when she became a teacher, oh, I gotta grade all these papers for the kids, turn back to them tomorrow. And yeah, guys, it's we could beat this with a dead horse, but I think you understand where I'm coming from. So with that being said, that's all I got for you today. Until next time, toodles, guys, and take care.